That night, Shanghai felt different. The normally fast-throbbing city seemed to slow down a bit, letting luxury and elegance take over the atmosphere. I arrived early at the event location, a magnificent 5-star hotel on the banks of the Huangpu River. Bvlgari held a gala evening on the theme of timeless elegance, and as always, only selected guests could attend. As an entertainment journalist who has covered this kind of event for years, I'm used to seeing celebrities perform with all their charm. However, that evening I did not expect to witness something much more interesting than just showing off jewelry and luxurious clothes. Something that felt warm, natural, and full of harmony. When it was 8 o'clock in the evening, rows of luxury cars began to arrive on a black carpet decorated with white roses and gently sparkling Bvlgari lights. The celebrities came out one by one, waving their hands, smiling at the cameras. However, all attention was suddenly diverted when a long black car stopped slowly in front of the main door. I stood in a strategic position behind the reporter's barrier, ready with camera in hand. As soon as the car door opened, the light of the lamp shone on a pair of familiar figures, Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi. Everyone around immediately boisterous. The sound of the camera rattling fast, the cry of Wu Lei, Lucy, look over here. Sounds from different directions. I myself was stunned for a few seconds. Both came down almost simultaneously, as if they had agreed to come in pairs. Zhao Lusi wore an ivory white dress by the Italian designer that evening, with open shoulders revealing the sparkle of a Bvlgari emerald necklace around her neck. Her hair was neatly gathered in a bun, leaving a few soft strands that framed her face. Beside him, Wu Lei appeared dashing in a classic black suit with a thin silver tie, a simple but very elegant alloy. What is interesting is not only their fashion, but the way they walk. Wu Lei stepped a little ahead, but every time Lucy slowed down because of the high heels, he automatically adjusted his rhythm. Small, barely noticeable, but attentive movements. From behind the camera, I could see something sincere between them, not far-fetched, not for imaging. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi came together. "This is a surprise," muttered a photographer next to me. I just smiled, looking at them from behind the lens. "What a pleasant surprise," I replied softly. Once they reached the photo wall area, the two stopped and stared at the camera. Zhao Lusi smiled sweetly, while Wu Lei stood by his side with a calm but warm expression. They looked at each other for a moment before starting to pose. The camera flashes alternated, but what was most interesting to me were the small interactions that took place in between the poses. As Lucy chuckled because her dress was slightly stuck on the floor, Wu Lei looked down quickly, helping to tidy it up without saying anything. Their gazes met for a while, and at that moment, the atmosphere around seemed to stop. There's a tender connection between them that's hard to explain. Not just the professionalism of the two actors who were once a couple on the drama, but something more natural. When the photo session was over, they walked into the main area of the event. I moved inside, taking a position on the right side of the room to observe the atmosphere. Inside, the atmosphere is so luxurious. Crystal chandeliers sparkle, soft jazz music plays, and in the center of the room stand tables decorated with white roses. The two stars sat at the main table, side by side with several representatives of Bvlgari. From my place, I could see how Wu Lei several times leaned slightly towards Lucy to speak. He didn't talk much in public, but from the movement of his lips it was clear that he was trying to make Lucy comfortable. Zhao Lusi, on the other hand, looked elegant but also a little shy. He chuckled a few times when he heard Wu Lei's comment, even looking down while covering his smile with his hands, a typical habit known to fans. Some of the guests at the table around were watching them with a meaningful look. One of the senior actresses who sat not far from there even said softly to me when we had a short conversation on the sidelines of the event, "They look good together. The energy is so warm." I just nodded because I felt the same way. As the presentation session began, Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi seemed to be seriously paying attention. However, every time Lucy turned her head to make a small remark, Wu Lei always listened with full focus, like someone who truly appreciated her interlocutor. No haste, no pretense of politeness. All feels natural. After the main event is over, guests begin to freely wander around enjoying dishes and interacting. I noticed that the two did not choose to separate like most other celebrities. Instead, they walked together towards the jewelry exhibition area. There, Wu Lei is seen listening intently as staff explain the details of Bvlgari's latest jewelry collection. Every now and then, he glanced at Lucy, as if to make sure the girl wasn't bored. Lucy seemed fascinated by the rings and necklaces displayed in the glass display case. In one small moment that was captured by my camera, Lucy lowered her head slightly, pointing at one necklace with a slight smile. Then Wu Lei stared at the object with a soft expression, like remembering something. Some journalists began to whisper. "They're really close," said one. I just looked at my camera and smiled. I know moments like this are rare. Two young stars who are usually so careful, that night seemed to lower their walls and enjoy the time without pressure. At about 10 in the evening, the event began to end. The air outside began to cool as the guests one by one exited the building. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi also ended up walking outside together. They paused for a moment under the warm garden lights, seemingly conversing quietly. Wu Lei opened his suit jacket, and without saying much, he put it on Zhao Lusi's shoulder. The gesture was spontaneous, but very polite and attentive. I had time to photograph the moment from a distance, not for gossip, but because the atmosphere was so sincere. Zhao Lusi looked at him for a while, then smiled. Not long after, they stepped towards the same car. Several other journalists were still trying to get a comment, but they only waved their hands, giving no answer. But the way they wave their hands is synchronous. The movements are almost simultaneous, making many people even more convinced that the two do have a relationship that is more than just colleagues. The car drove slowly away from the event area, and I saw their shadows inside, sitting side by side, talking quietly. The city lights of Shanghai bounce in the windows, creating beautiful reflections of light, as if framing two figures who are on the cusp of simple happiness. I closed my camera slowly, and for some reason, the night was so warm. There is something different between watching an ordinary public moment and watching a moment that has a soul. Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi that evening showed that harmony does not always need to be announced. Sometimes it is enough to feel. The next morning, the virtual world is stormy. The hashtag Wu Lei Zhao Lusi at Bvlgari occupied the first position on trending Weibo. Photos of them together, including the one I took that night, went viral on social media. Their fans instantly made thousands of comments full of support. "Look at the way Wu Lei looks at Lucy, it's not acting," wrote one of the fan accounts. "Their chemistry is real, even beyond the drama," another added. Some entertainment media try to find out if the two came together because of professional or personal matters. However, there is no official clarification. Bvlgari only thanked them for their presence as ambassadors who bring an elegant and youthful spirit to the brand. But for me, who witnessed firsthand, the truth is deeper than just a working relationship. There is an aura of mutual respect, care and comfort between them that cannot be faked. Perhaps this is the result of their long friendship since filming the drama together a few years ago. Perhaps, too, the relationship has now grown into something more meaningful. As a journalist, I was always taught to keep my distance from the subject. But that night, I couldn't help but be amazed. In the midst of a world of entertainment that is often full of theatricality and pretense, Wu Lei and Zhao Lusi show another version of glamour, warm, gentle and human glamour. They do not come up with sensations, do not try to steal attention with excessive gestures. It is precisely because of their simplicity that their presence feels so alluring. The world may continue to second-guess their relationship, but to me who watched that night, the real answer was obvious. Not in words, but in the way they looked at each other, understood each other without the need to speak. That Bvlgari night will always be remembered not because of the glitter of the jewelry, but because of the two people who made luxury feel warm. And perhaps behind all the spotlight and rumors, all they show is the simplest thing in the world, the sincere togetherness of two hearts that understand each other.